Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss the intricate topic of political self. Our discussion is framed around four key learning objectives. Number one, establish a sense of belongingness to one Filipino identity. Number two, identify the factors that influence the formation of political self. Number three, examine some key constitutional provisions regarding Filipino citizenship. And lastly, know the duties and responsibilities of a Filipino citizen. Let's start by exploring the concept of Filipino identity. The archipelagic nature, a country divided into islands of the Philippines, made it a little difficult to identify a single cultural heritage that can be concluded as common to all individuals alike. The nation is clearly diversified, and answering the question, who is a Filipino, is nearly impossible considering the fact that each individual adheres to different cultural background, various distinctive cultural practices while establishing the uniqueness of a particular group of people in a particular region have the tendency to rather create barriers which make the establishment of a single Filipino identity rather futile. So, the Philippines is more than just 7,641 island. It is home of 100 ethnicities whose diversity unites when authoritarian regimes persist. And the slogan, I am a Filipino, dictates a strong emotion and commitment that gives us a sense of belonging to our land, which comprises rich and diverse culture and history, which was the result of the periods of colonization by the Spain, the United States, and occupation by Japan, which influenced our nation's identity.
What may be the factors that widen the gap of diversity among Filipinos? First one is the one of the factors that led to a highly diversified nation is on how a group of Filipinos responds and adapt to current trends. Even a historical recap would suggest that the manner by which people of Luzon cope with the colonial era differs from the way people from Visayas adapted and even the people from Mindanao. A greater difference lies when you pinpoint a particular group, say, for example, Ilocanos to Tagalog to Igorots. The rebels of war gone, the colonizers have influenced the way Filipinos behave and ultimately shaped the way Filipinos view the world. While some adopted Spanish influences, others adopted the American influences, still others adopted with adopted the Japanese influences. And with the proliferation of worldwide interconnectivity through the internet, people have started to align their lifestyle with different cultural heritages of other countries. For example, naatukat agdi igorot since agjajan da dijay banbantay or bunbundok na maintain da gidi kultura da despite Spanish colonization gamin jay lugar da hanga hanon nga ma adayo iti kwa or bunbundok. Ilocano met on the other hand ket gidi grupo jay northern part ti Luzon like to entayo tay kultura met dito tiket daduman adapt tayo influensya ti Spanish ken American. Tagalog met ti pinakalaganap nga grupo ta isuda ti kadakkelan ti influensya ti bansa tayo. The second one is the migration of Filipinos to different countries to seek better employment had the inevitable consequence of them adapting the culture of the country they immigrated to and bring those culture with them when they come home. Ato ket dagiti OFW no panda abroad nagtrabaho agiti culture jay bansa nga napananda ket ma-adapt da sipud di panagjan dati jay. Tapos dagiti met kultura nga na-adapt dati jayen ket may pagkitaan to ti Pilipinas iton agawid da.
Let us talk more in the Filipino in the Constitution. The 1987 Philippine Constitution, specifically Section 1 of Article 4 thereof, lays down the qualifications before a person is considered a citizen of the Philippines, a Filipino to wit, those whose fathers or mothers are citizens of the Philippines, those born before January 17, 1973, of Filipino mothers who elect Philippine citizenship upon the reaching of age of majority, and those who are naturalized in accordance of the law. Deficiency with the constitutional provision. While the Constitution presents qualifications for the recognition of a person's nationality, it did not intend to do more than that. What is left is the existential and sociological question as what truly identifies a person aside from his biological framework. Now, a reflective question for all of us. What do we truly mean when we say, I am a Filipino? But the question still remains. Who is or are the Filipinos? According to the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines, a Filipino are those whose fathers and mothers are citizens of the Philippines. Those born before January 17, 1973, of Filipino mothers, who elect Philippine citizenship upon reaching the age of majority, and those who are naturalized in accordance with the law. But that only expresses not what makes a Filipino a Filipino. Basically, a Filipino must not be foreign to their own culture. Pinoy ka ba talaga? Whereas, one must be knowledgeable and adhere to the practices of our culture, such as the Filipino hospitality, close family ties except pag may malawak na lupa ang pamilya mo, cheerful personality, crab mentality, and Filipino time.
So let's proceed to historical background. First is the Spanish era. During the Spanish period, Filipinos was labeled as Indios, a term used to prepare people who are stupid, barbaric, and idiotic. Thus, the lowly treatment as well as the idea of being clothed with an identity that is not only insulting but dehumanizing prompted Rizal to reclaim the image of the Filipino people from their derogatory presentation of a Spanish historian. So, during the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines, the term Indios was used by the Spanish to refer to the native Filipinos. So, this label carried negative connotations, suggesting that the indigenous people were inferior, uneducated, and uncivilized. Such derogatory terms and the associated attitudes lead to discriminatory and humanizing treatment of Filipinos by the Spanish colonizers. So in the second bullet, history shows that the term Filipino used to refer only to some elites. Rizal talks upon himself to use the term to refer also to all citizens of the Philippines by providing the Filipinos and not Indios. The third bullet was the Spanish colonial period resulted the practices and lifestyles that were imprinted in the lives of every Filipinos. So, let's proceed to American era. After the Spanish colonial period, the Americans landed on the nation and greatly influenced the lifestyle of the Filipinos and eventually reshaped their perspective. So, this bullet, the first was the education. Education is they build many schools and taught in English, which help more people get an education and learn a new language. So second is the government. They introduce democratic ideas like voting and political parties, make the government more representative of the people. Third is the economy. They improve infrastructure like roads and bridges and encourage trade, which boosted the economy. Fourth is health. They improve healthcare by building hospitals and promoting better sanitations. which lead to healthier communities. Fifth is the culture. So American culture such as clothing, styles, food, music, and sports like basketball become very popular in the Philippines. So sixth is the legal system. They changed the legal system to be more like the American one, with new laws and courts. Lastly, the social changes. Education and new economic opportunities allowed more people to improve their social status and embrace ideas of individual freedom. So, second bullet, one can readily identify the American influence upon acknowledging the democratic form of government and the use of the English language as a medium of almost all of their communications and business transactions. So last bullet is their stay in the Philippines continued under the guise of humanizing the people. They justified their presence by claiming it as a missionary venture of civilizing the people.
At this juncture, we will talk about the democratic form of government. Ano nga ba ang demokrasya? The word democracy comes from the Greek word demos, meaning people, and kratos, which means power. So democracy can be thought as a power of the people, a way of governing which depends on the will of the people. Ang mga ganitong konsepto ay mula sa mga Greek and Roman philosophers na sina Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. When we hear the word democracy, pumapasok sa ating mga isipan ang mga salitang freedom, human justice, at election. Meaning, ang mga mamamayan sa bansa ay nabibigyan ng kalayaang mamili sa mga magiging leader sa country. According to the dictionary, democracy defines as a government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised by them directly or indirectly through a system of representation, usually involving periodically held free elections. So, yun nga kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, ang mga tao ang mamimili kung sino ang mga karapat-dapat na mamumuno sa isang bansa. There is this phrase from Abraham Lincoln saying that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. These highlight the fundamental principle of the democracy. It means that the government is composed of ordinary citizens representing the collective will. Citizens elect and operate the government, ensuring leaders are accountable through free elections. The government serves the needs and interests of all citizens, prioritizing their welfare, rights, and freedoms. This phrase emphasizes that true democracy derives its legitimacy from the consent of the governed. However, such form of government has tenets that are promising. A poor understanding of the concept would result to damaging consequences, such as corruption, inequality, lack of correct choice of leaders, misuse of equality, and lack of justice. Filipino in a democratic setting. A key element of democratic form of government is emphasis on the freedom of people, which should be safeguarded at all times and shall not be curtailed arbitrarily. This is shown in the enshrined Bill of Rights in the Constitution, which ensures the protection of rights of the citizens against possible abuses. Another element is the promotion of general welfare of the people, including everyone's entitlement due to process and equal protection of the laws. This security promotion of the rights of the citizens has the ultimate goal of allowing the people to perform properly in the society, as the government ensures their stability and safety. They are expected to exercise their duties and responsibilities properly. An example of this duty is the exercise of the right of suffrage, or the right to choose in an election. Alongside with the right of suffrage is the right to be heard through representatives. Each one provided has reached the age of majority has the right to choose a representative. Inherent in this duty is the role of every citizen to scrutinize political aspirants and choose who among them could run the government to the interests of the nation as a whole. In here, the responsibilities and rights associated with voting in an election. It emphasizes that voting is not only a right, but also a duty for citizens who have reached the age of majority. This duty involves more than just casting a vote. It includes the responsibility to carefully evaluate political candidates and select those who will govern in the best interest of the entire nation. Additionally, it highlights the importance of being represented by chosen representatives in the government, ensuring that citizens' voices are heard through these elected officials. So what plagues this ideology is the attitude of prioritizing personal interest over the interest of the majority. A good number of people would tend to think about personal gains and decide only in consideration of themselves. Such attitude defeats the spirit of democracy. The common good is often sacrificed for the promotion of individual rights. It points out that many people focus on what they can personally gain rather than considering the needs and interests of larger community. This self-centered attitude undermines or damages the fundamental principles of the democracy, where decisions should be ideally benefit the majority. As a result, the common good is often neglected in favor of individual rights and benefits. A consequence of a poor implementation of democracy is the uneven distribution of resources, resulting to a widening gap of the rich and the poor. A gap would bring about conflicting interests between the rich and the poor. We move on to the Philippine citizenship, the self, and the different social institutions. Citizen is characterized by one's belongingness to a state with rights and duties, enforced and directed by a government. It is a particular membership to a large community bound by a collective identity. Citizenship implies being a member of a broader community that shares a common identity and is governed by shared laws and principles. First, the belongingness to a state. Citizenship signifies that an individual is recognized as a legal member of a particular nation. This recognition grants certain privileges and protection under the law of that country. Second, the right and duties. Citizens enjoy certain rights, such as the right to vote, access to public services, and legal protection. At the same time, they have duties such as obeying the laws, paying taxes, and possibly serving in the defense or administration of the state. The third is enforced and directed by the government. The government is responsible for enforcing laws that protect citizens' rights, and ensure that they fulfill their civic duty. This relationship forms the basis of the social contract between citizens and the state. And the collective identity. When we say the collective identity, citizen also involves a sense of belonging to a larger community with shared values, culture, history, and sometimes language. This collective identity strengthens social cohesion and unity among citizens. Overall, citizenship is a legal and social status that not only provides individual with rights and obligations within a specific state, but also foster a sense of belonging and collective responsibility towards that community. Typically, a good citizen is one who abides by the rules and vows complete allegiance to authorities while upholding individual rights. Equally important characteristics comprise of one's involvement in environmental protection and promotion of equal rights. So being a good citizen involves a balance of responsibilities, such as obeying laws, upholding individual rights, engaging in environmental protection, promoting equal rights, and contributing to both national interest and individual empowerment. These responsibilities collectively contribute to a cohesion and just society. So, when speaking about citizenship, what comes to first is the promotion of the national interest as well as the empowerment of every individual. The promotion of the other cannot be invoked as a justification for the violation of the other. The diversity in the Philippine political culture. A key factor in the analysis of Philippine politics is the consideration of one's prioritizing of his immediate community. When we say immediate community, they are our families, friends, relatives, and so on. There are two cultural categories of community. These are the minority and the majority. So when we say minority, this refers to the group that are culturally, ethnically, or racially distinct and coexist with, but are subordinate to the dominant group. These minorities live on the margins of the society, meaning they have less power, influence, and access to the resources. Example might include indigenous peoples, ethnic minorities, or marginalized socio-economic groups. While the majority, this comprises the larger group of people in the community, typically holding more power and influence in society. They are often the dominant group in terms of members, culture, and political influence. These are the politicians.
Movement towards the common good, a path to a defined political self. The common good is a concept that represents the shared benefits and interests of the community. It includes public resources, institutions, and environments that everyone can access and benefit from, such as clean air, safe neighborhoods, public education, and functioning judicial system. Importance of the common good. Number 1. Social cohesion. Promoting the common good fosters a sense of community and belonging. When people feel connected to and responsible for each other, social ties strengthen, leading to a more cohesive and supportive communities. Number 2. Equity and justice. Working towards the common good ensures that resources and opportunities are distributed fairly, reducing inequality and promoting social justice. This helps to create a more balanced society where everyone has a chance to succeed. Number 3. Sustainable development. The common good emphasizes sustainability, ensuring that resources are used in ways that benefit both current and future generations. This includes environmental conservation, responsible economic policies, and sustainable urban planning. Example of efforts towards the common good. Number 1. Community gardens. Community gardens provide fresh produce, promote healthy eating, and create spaces for people to connect and work together. Number 2. Public health initiatives. Programs that provide vaccinations, health education, and support for healthy lifestyle improve overall community health and reduce the burden on healthcare systems. Number 3. Educational programs. Providing access to quality education for all, including adult education and vocational training, empowers individuals and enhances the community's economic stability. Number 4. Environmental conservation. Efforts to protect natural resources and promote sustainability such as reforestation projects, clean energy initiatives, and wildlife conservation ensuring a healthier planet for future generations. Empathy towards others. Empathy is the capacity to understand and share the feelings of others. Empathy refers to the ability to feel with others, to put oneself in others' shoes, so as to clearly understand the situation of others and subsequently respond to what others might need. What often prevents the promotion of common good is the excessive promotion of personal gain. This pursuit is often justified in the guise of not hurting others, meaning one is justified in pursuing his own happiness as long as such pursuit does not cause unhappiness to others, regardless if it causes happiness to others as well. Empathy is the key towards the establishment of national identity, to which everybody could associate with. The factor which could unify Filipino in such a way that each one would attend to the need of the others is the ability to journey with others. Empathy ignites a person's sense of responsibility towards the community. The ability to think of the consequences of one's actions to the lives of the others enkindles a sense of responsibility to a person. Through empathy, the person's role shifts from passivity to proactivity, to mere existence to coexistence. The person becomes an agent of nation building. Key aspects of empathy. Number 1. Emotional recognition. This is the ability to identify and understand another person's emotions. It involves paying attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, such as tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. Number 2. Perspective taking. Perspective taking is the cognitive aspect of empathy. It involves putting yourself in someone else's shoes to understand their thoughts, feelings, and viewpoint. This helps in comprehending why they might feel or act a certain way. Number 3. Emotional resonance. This is the capacity to share in another person's emotional experience. When you resonate emotionally, you not only understand their feelings but also feel a reflection of those emotions within yourself. Number 4. Compassionate action. True empathy often leads to compassionate action. This means not only understanding and sharing in someone else's feelings, but also wanting to help or support them in some way. Importance of empathy. Number 1. Building strong relationships. Empathy is the fundamental in forming and in maintaining healthy relationships. It fosters trust, understanding, and emotional connection between people. Number 2. Promoting cooperation. Empathetic individuals are better at working collaboratively. They can navigate conflicts more effectively and find solutions that consider everyone's feelings and needs. Number 3. Enhancing emotional well-being. When people feel understood and valued, their emotional well-being improves. Empathy helps to reduce feelings of isolation and promotes a sense of belonging. Number 4. Reducing prejudice and discrimination. By understanding the experiences and struggles of others, empathy can help to break down stereotypes and reduce prejudice attitudes. It encourages a more inclusive and accepting society. Number 5. Improving communication. Empathy leads to a better listening and more thoughtful responses. It helps people communicate more openly and honestly. Foster clearer and effective exchanges. To develop empathy, we have to consider these factors. Number 1. Active listening. Practice listening to others without interrupting. Pay attention to their words, tone, and body language. Show that you are engaged and interested in what they are saying. Number 2. Asking questions. Asking open-ended questions that encourages others to share more about their experiences and feelings This shows that you care about understanding their perspective. Number 3, reflecting and validating. Reflect back what you've heard to show understanding. Validate their feelings and by acknowledging their emotions, experiences without judging. Number 4, being present. Give people your full attention. Avoid distractions and focus only on being fully present in the moment when interacting with others. Number 5, practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness can help you become more aware of your emotions and reactions, making it easier to tune into others' emotions. Number 6, reading and exposure to diverse perspectives. Reading literature and engaging with media that explore diverse experiences can broaden your understanding and empathy for different life situations. The role of social institutions in the pursuit of national identity. A venture towards the establishment of a national identity cannot come into completion without determining the effects of social institutions. Each citizen is a member of a group, student of a school or a teacher, a member of a religious sector, a member of a specific organization. The family is the basic unit of the society, the primordial institution that caters to the needs of every individual and eventually aligns his ideals and principles in life. The family should go hand in hand with every social institution in enkindling in every individual, especially the young, the sense of national identity in order for the youth to be aware of their duties and responsibilities as Filipino people. Social institutions plays a critical role in shaping and reinforcing national identity. National identity is the sense of belonging and shared identity that individuals have with their nation. It encompasses a collective understanding of history, culture, values, and goals. The major social institutions that contribute to the formation and reinforcement of national identity include education, government, media, religion, and family. In education systems often include lessons on the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. This helps students understand their role within the nation and fosters a sense of civic duty and national pride. In governments create laws, policies that reflect and promote national values. This can include language policies, national holidays, and the celebration of historical events. Government services such as healthcare, transportation, and welfare reinforce the idea of shared national community by providing for the common good of all citizens. In media representation of diverse groups within the nation can promote a more inclusive national identity, highlighting different cultures, languages, and traditions within the nation to help to create a more comprehensive understanding of what constitutes national identity. In religious institutions often promote values and moral systems that align with national values. This can reinforce a collective sense of right and wrong, contributing to social cohesion. In family plays a key role in passing down traditions, customs, and stories from one generation to the next. This familial transmission helps maintain cultural continuity and a sense of national identity.